What's up, YouTube? Cold Ass Ice Princess coming at you from Minnesota. And I wanted to quickly talk to you guys today about something that's been on my mind with this whole stand your ground rule that's happening in over half of the states of the United States have this stand your ground rule. We currently don't have it here in Minnesota, but a lot of the states around the country do have this stand your ground rule, which basically means that even if somebody antagonizes you, and if this person started the fight or whatever, and if you try to fight back or whatever and they pull out a gun and they shoot you dead, basically that means they'll get away with it, even though they were in the wrong initially and they started the whole thing. Like when I look at the thing that happened in Florida with the young man being killed right in front of his family, going into a neighborhood convenience store by the white guy who was outside, basically causing trouble with anybody and everybody. And he had been doing this for quite a while. I mean, there's been several eyewitnesses that came forth and said that he's been, antagonizing people, causing trouble with people, like complaining about just little or nothing, And when I heard that from the other people who were witnesses to what had happened, I felt like, because the business owner even said that this man had been causing trouble with other of his customers in the past. And I feel that a lot of the things that happened, or this person losing their life, wouldn't have happened if that business owner had basically banned that man from coming on his premises. Because if this guy had already been causing trouble, it's like 64 degrees out here, it's really cold today. If this guy had already been causing trouble with many people that have came in and out of that store, and they've all been African American people, then that shows right there that basically this white man was actually going out that day picnicking. And if you don't know what the term picnicking is, it's not getting together with your family in the park and having a barbecue. Picnicking is a term that white folks used to use back in the day when they would go out and pick a nigga to kill. And they call it picnicking. But it's really pick a nigga to kill. So that man that day, he was an asshole, he was a pussy, he was a bitch. Because any man that will watch another man get up out of his car and go inside of a building, then you go to the car and you approach the man's wife or the man's girlfriend instead of saying something to that man when he seen that man go into the store. He wanted to cause trouble with that woman. He wasn't man enough to go to the man and be like, hey dude, you parked in the handicap zone. Which it wasn't none of his business in the first damn place if they parked in the handicap zone or not. But at the same point in time, even if I park in the handicap zone and I'm not handicapped, and if somebody come to me and be like, hey, you parked in the handicap zone, I'd be like, okay, I parked in the handicap zone, my bad, and then I just proceed to move my car into another space. That's where the first thing was that I feel the brother and the sister did wrong. It's like when you do wrong, you have to acknowledge and accept the fact that you did wrong. Even though you see this white man at your window, pointing in your window, talking shit in your window, pointing at you and all hanging in your window is talking shit, and he getting on your last goddamn nerve, and still you have to admit, okay, I'm parked in the handicap space, I shouldn't be in a handicap space, okay, I did that wrong. You know what I mean? I'm not saying, don't ever get it twisted, I ain't saying the brother deserved to die. I ain't gonna never say that, because that's not the truth and that's not how my heart feels. But I feel that when you are in the wrong and you So y'all, I had to get out of that win. But like I was saying, when you're in the wrong and you know that you're in the wrong, it's ain't no crime with acknowledging that you're wrong. And what I mean by this is that. What I mean by that is this. That's just like, say, for instance, if you're in a state where you have to drive with your seatbelt on, and the cop stops you and says, you know why I stop you or whatever. Oh, you don't got your seatbelt on. It's like, don't argue when you know you didn't have your seatbelt on. You know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta own up to your own mistake or own up to your own bullshit, especially when you know you're in the wrong. And I feel like, I know we can't talk about things as past tense or whatever, but I feel like that whole incident with that brother losing his life, them children losing their father, that woman losing her man, it all could have been avoided. You know what I'm saying? Because, hey y'all, I am so sorry for all the interruption and delays. Maybe this video wasn't meant to be made. I don't know, but when I was outside, it was windy and cold, and I decided to go in the car, and when I was in the car, the battery died. So I've been at home for a while, eating and drinking. But what I was trying to say was that when you're in the wrong and you know you've done something wrong, just acknowledge that you've done something wrong and change your ways. I feel like that brother would have been alive if he had just said, okay, we parked in the handicap zone. You know, even though it wasn't dude's business, I understand that, and I understand the anger and frustration that goes along with that. But just when you're wrong, just acknowledge that you're wrong. That's my whole point. Do y'all remember this group that came out back in the early 90s called Arrested Development, I think they were called? And they had a song called Ordinary People. And in the song, the guy was talking in the song, and then toward the end of the song, the female came and she said, hey, you don't never know who you step into. They might have a gun or knife or what. Hey, you know, hit it. Oh. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, real talk. You never know what a person might have. You never know what that person might, intentions might be. That's my whole point of saying, when you know you wrong and you've done wrong, just acknowledge that you're wrong. It don't always have to be like, you angry and you want to fight. You know, it's different when somebody is lying on you. Then, yeah, defend yourself. But if you know you wrong and you done something wrong, just admit it and change your wrong to rights. Don't, the brother went up and pushed the dude. I mean, I'm sure y'all seen the video a million times. The dude approached his woman and was talking shit to his woman, and the brother went up and pushed the dude. Pushed the dude down to the ground. You know what I'm saying? It ain't justified for murder. Because regardless of what Florida talking about, that dude, he murdered that boy. Point blank, bottom line. He murdered that boy. I mean, he just took his gun out of his shirt and shot that boy. And that man died in front of his child. And they were just looking like going into the little convenience store to get something to drink or some snacks or whatever. Sometimes I think like things are the way they are because that's the way it was meant to be. Like, that's the way he was supposed to die, basically. I guess as an example for people to see and know the hate that's in this country. I mean, people talk about karma, But I think, like, okay, just say for instance, with Jesus Christ, how Judas traded in Jesus Christ for 10 pieces of silver. Like, in my mind, I feel like that's what Judas was born for. You know what I mean? That was his destiny, to trade Jesus Christ in for 10 pieces of silver. And I feel like the way that young man was killed, it was just, it seemed all too, it seemed like too much of coincidence. Like, okay, they parked there. We saw it on camera. He went into the store with his son. We saw that on camera. Then the white dude went up to his girlfriend or his wife and was talking shit to her. Then when he came out of the store, then she jumped out of the car. You know what I mean? Like, what if she had stayed in the car? Would he have pushed the guy? It seemed like it all just, like, you know how things just happen? I don't know if I'm making sense, and I don't know if people understand what I'm trying to say, but I know a lot of people ain't going to agree with what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? It's my opinion or whatever. But I feel like when you know you living in a society where basically you're hated because of your skin color, or people say that they fear you because of your skin color or whatever, even though you ain't done nothing wrong, it's like you gotta acknowledge the society that you live in. You know what I mean? You gotta acknowledge that you live in America, where people who look like me, they against you. And we do have to work twice as hard. We do have to be twice as good. I mean, it's like we have to police ourselves on things we say, things we do. You know what I'm saying? And it's just the way it is. Because I don't see white America changing anytime soon. I don't see them changing. They got their own way of thinking and their own way of viewing things, even though their way of viewing things is totally wrong. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, if that man had been going there time and time again to cause trouble with people, black people, then that's already telling you right there that he has an issue. And he probably left home that day with the intention, like I said, of picking a nigga to kill. And he got away with it. I mean, he got away with it according to the standards and laws and the customs of the United States of America. But truthfully, he ain't really got away with it. I feel, honestly, and I'm talking more on a spiritual level, that he is cursed and his bloodline will be cursed. That's the way I feel. Because anytime you do wrong to somebody like that, you're going to have to pay for it, one way or the other. Even if we don't see him paying for it, he paying for it. And what I feel is, I feel he probably sat around that night when he got home with his friends and gave each other high fives. Oh, you killed a nigger today. Oh, I wish I can kill a nigger. I want to go out picnicking myself. I want to kill me some niggers. But he got away with it. He ain't gonna do no time. And I feel like the brother could have just been like, okay, we parked in the handicap zone, my bad, and moved the car. You know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion. Cold as Ice Princess coming at you from Minnesota. As always, grace and peace.